Hello friends, Jason here for TheChartGuys, taking a look at our tanker stocks. We're going to start with TK, daily time frame. This candlestick tells me there is indecision in the markets today. And I'm not surprised. Following 2 red days, we get a red indecision. And we know it's indecision because we have these upward and lower wicks on this candlestick that tell us that there is some volatility. And usually what happens is you get a whipsaw and then you get a taper out. And because we're falling down from these big red candlesticks, you get that moment where the bears extend themselves. The bulls try to rally on the absence of the bears, and then you end up having the bears come back eventually and taper it out. So 360 is an important level on the daily time frame, and then still way down here at 284 is going to be important. On the 4-hour time frame, we see a very tight 4-hour trend, probably a better hourly trend, but we've lost 4-hour support, and the only 4-hour support that I really see anywhere is going to be down here in the area of 316. So we got a long ways to go. Go to the hourly, looks a little bit better. Better in the sense that it's more clear, not better for the bulls, but we do have some key levels to look at. 397 is going to be important for the bulls. If they can get back over that, then they have established a low and a higher low, and they have the option of changing the trend. However, we're still underneath the key EMA 26, and we may just be seeing a little bit of follow through on the break of that intraday consolidation following that whipsaw action that we saw. But what really matters is we are in an hourly downtrend, and we have 360 support, and we need to break 397 in order to change that story. On the 15-minute time frame, actually, let's go right to the 5-minute because that's going to tell the story of the day a lot better. Here are those 2 red days, and here's that whipsaw action. 397, a resistance level set pre-market. We drop to 360, get a 2-minute double bottom, and then whipsaw on the wrong, or not the wrong direction, the other direction. And what we're seeing here is that extended move by the bears, exhaustion by the bears, bulls capitalizing on their absence, getting up here to 397, encountering that new layer of bearish power, and then ultimately just going sideways for the rest of the day. So we got to go back to our hourly time frame to look at the most likely scenario for those bears. And outside of this pre-market or after hours action that we're seeing, I need to see us confidently above 381 in tomorrow's action. If we open below, that's going to be a key resistance for us. We'll see how the after hours and pre-market plays out. But really, I want to see ultimately what side of this big block of trading action am I on? Does it act as a support or does it act as a resistance? And those are the key components that I will be looking for tomorrow. Until then, I'll be looking for that hourly trend continuation. On NAT, daily time frame. Let's get our windows in order. Another indecision candlestick. This one is even more tight, and we can see that. Perfect doji. Our open and close, what were those prices? 602, 602 to the penny. So it happens once in a while. It's pretty beautiful when it does, but there is that indecision doji. Same idea. We have bearish exhaustion. We see a flush. We see the bulls power through and then extend themselves, and then we get to that moment of perfect balance, and that's where we are. Relatively low volume, so that's not really good for either party in this case. Just complete indecision. So we're gonna be really focused on the key ranges that we're seeing here. So we have 580 support from low of day. We're also going to be looking at 649 for our key resistance. We're going to get rid of this guy. Daily support at 522, and then I'm still going to be interested actually in 693. So going to the 4-hour time frame. Right now, we're just in a 4-hour downtrend. We don't really have a confident lower high yet, but we'd look for a drop under 580, and then what we would do is just back this up a little bit. It's a little bit hard to determine where we would put that. Something around 655. Or maybe we'll just treat it as a range of resistance of 650, 655. So what we're looking for the downside continuation is going to be a loss of that 580 and then 522 support. In order to change that trend, we need a good 4-hour higher low over $5.80 and then a break of 655. Hourly time frame is going to give us ever so slightly a bit more clarity, but really just choppy sideways action pinned down by our EMA 12, which is a key resistance so far. Bulls have a little bit of room to work with, having established that low at 580. Let's take a look at the 5-minute. And there's a similar action. Very strong moves in both directions, tapering off slowly over the course of the day. Not really getting into a reversal pattern either, just slowly grinding. And maybe we get a nice rounded bottom here eventually, but there's so much more work to do. We're only halfway through what could be a potential pattern. So that's just speculation at this point. FRO on the daily time frame. What we are looking at is a hot mess of lines. So we have another indecision day. This one ultimately looks better for the bulls. And it looks better for the bulls because we managed to close green despite the big fights that we saw on both sides. Upward and lower candlesticks still showing indecision. But bulls did win out the day at the end. 840 support is going to be important. On the 4-hour time frame, however, we are still seeing a tightening range drop. Now we're seeing this opening range of a little bit of volatility, too far and too further extended to call this a bear flag, but we would consider drawing it as a channel if we can ignore the upper and lower wicks and just look at this tightening range and treat it as such. So we'll be looking for a break of 895 for downside continuation, and then ultimately that 968 level is going to be important too. And this is why I'm interested in this. We get these periods of volatility, and we have to ask ourselves, how important are these areas of volatility, or are we just going to resume trading in the channel that we had established before? Now, it gets really difficult because, of course, if we're drawing a channel like this, ignoring those upper and lower wicks, we're going to be ignoring a lot of data and price action that actually did happen and did matter. But sometimes, and just sometimes, we can fall back in line with old patterns and old resistances. Ultimately, though, we'd focus on what's happening here. So let's just go to the 5-minute time frame, see who controls the day and how we got there. It is a complete, what's the word, a draw. I don't see anyone winning either side of this. Massive bounce, though. 5-minute oversold. What a beautiful bounce that was, right above our EMA 5. And an incredible day for the bulls who managed to catch the bounce. Really mediocre day for the rest of the day here. Oh, what matters is we are in an hourly downtrend, and we need to change that trend. So right now, unless we break 968 tomorrow with confidence, I would expect a test of 895. TNP on the daily. Let's check that out as well. This one is weaker. And we know it's weaker. Why? Because it's right in front of us. We got a big red candlestick with a lower wick. The body is still relatively tight as compared to those other days. So we are going to call it indecision. And we do have this big built up area of support. And the most recent low is 327. So we got within 3 cents of that low today. So that's good enough to be considered a double bottom. So what we're going to be looking for, based on this low volume and this low pressure push by the bears, is going to be a little bit of reversal. And on the 4-hour time frame, what are we going to need to see for that? Well, not a lot of change in the 4-hour to lock in a reversal. We're so close to that 327 level, that 330 support level as well. What we're looking for is a trend change on the shortest time frame that we can find. When do we see it on the hourly time frame? Well, right now we're in hourly bear flag with this drop and the sideways consolidation. So if we see an extension of that in after hours or pre-market, or maybe even just tomorrow morning, we open around 327. What that is going to do is be that second wave of our bear flag, put us right into the area for a nice test, a bottom fish of 327. Then we're going to look for a 5 and 15 minute trend change if we get there. Now that's a lot of ifs, and unfortunately, ifs are a big part of technical analysis. We have to be preparing for all these scenarios. Right now, if I had to make a trade, I would be looking for a break over 348. I'll play a higher low because we just established a low, a higher low, and another higher low in an ultimate tightening range. Though most ugly, I'm not even going to call it an EQ, but a tightening range overall. 348 would be a must-need break for me. Then we have resistance right above that. Not too far away, 366. So some potential bottom fish play tomorrow here on TNP. And given the fact that all of our other names are seeing indecision with the potential for upside, if things shifted in the right way at the right time, that would be a great play. SFL is our last name. This one has been stronger than the other names. Still setting higher highs, higher lows, and that's what matters. So right now we've got a big low here at 1116. If we lose that, then we're going to be looking for daily consolidation because that overall growth has slowed down. We still have major resistance at 1174. 4-hour time frame still holding strong with higher lows, higher highs. 1175, 74 is the key resistance still. Hourly time frame, still trending up here. 1084, 1116, and then the most recent low from this afternoon, 1124. If we manage to maintain this slow and methodical climb, we get opportunity here to test and possibly break 1165 and 1174. But keep an eye out for those daily higher lows. Once we lose 1116, we got a lot of consolidation to do because our overall daily time frame, well, it's not overbought. Actually, 4 hours not too bad either. It's getting pretty primed. I expect to see some overbought RSIs. So that is good for the bulls. Keep a close eye on the hourly time frame. Look for continued higher lows as we approach 1175. And if bulls manage to get into this breakout zone, there's a very small window with very, very little resistance here. And our next major resistance above that is going to be 1278. Anyway, that's it for today, guys. Hopefully it was helpful. If you ever have any questions, feel free to post comments or need some clarification on a comment. Sometimes I say the wrong numbers at the wrong time. That just happens. All right. Thank you for watching. Have a good day.